being online.
Yeah,
Never
I
heard
always
of
forget
that
about
first. Just a minute. It looked like the difference in the game was second chance points. Y'all out rebounded them 44-30, got 17 offensive rebounds, 19 points all up. That's the difference in the game, huh?
It really was. We knew that they were, I think, they're one of the more talented offensive rebounding teams in our league. And some people, statistically, they're up there in the top in the country, and they've got guys that go hard. Coach Price does an incredible job of getting those guys to do what he wants them to do and get to the glass. And I think they're maximizing one of their great skills in that. And we talked about that all week in preparation, and Coach Arkenberg out of scout, and he did a great job of getting them ready, of getting it. And we talked about it in the locker room that the guys were mad that we didn't get more, which was a great thing for a young team, that they were dissatisfied that we didn't do better. We won the battle by 14, but they really felt like we should have did a better job with that. And so I was excited with them being able to respond. And I think the big picture of the young team growing up was we had a 10-point lead at half, went all the way to where we were down 4 in the second half, and then kept our composure and came back and stayed on the fight.
Was it a little frustrating there at the end with the free throws not falling? Y'all missed 6 consecutive there.
Yeah, and I always, my old boss, Coach Mike McConnell, always said, no one misses one on purpose. So they weren't trying to miss them, and they were all good foul shooters. I mean, Kevin Brown is a phenomenal foul shooter. That's one of his greatest strengths. Chris Davis Gills made a million of them of his life between Alexandria Senior High and here. So I mean, they're all great foul shooters. Kevin Hill's been our best free thrower his whole career. Every year he's been our best foul shooter. So it's an anomaly. They didn't miss them on purpose. We're going to be okay. I'm not pushing the panic button on that end. We shot it poorly the first game of the year, and then come back to Southern Illinois and go 14 for 14. So we're okay there.
Good thing is you won. Chris Davis had that big steal at the end.
Right.
You played good defense. Have more down the stretch there, and
the little guy he just makes plays. I mean, I wish there was a really neat way or cool way for me to say about how hard Chris Davis plays, but he just comes up with plays, and he's a guy that in the end you got to have him out on the floor because he's going to get a loose ball, he's going to get his hands on the play, he's going to make the extra effort play to do that. He just does a phenomenal job. I'm really proud of him.
You think Lamar's a better team than they were last year?
Yeah, I think they're dramatically better. I think they really understand what he wants them to do. I think he's doing a great job with them. They execute. I think they got 2 good forwards. Indeed, D. LeBert, I can't even say number 5 and Ross. I wish I didn't have such a country dialect to be able to say it. So, but they're really talented and do a good job, and so they're good.
Was it?
Thank you. Of course, Roe Brown TV Legend can get it.
Was it kind of a strange game in that you're playing your first conference game against Lamar, coached by Tick Price, who had such a great run here at UNO? Did it make it kind of funny for you?
Well, it was obviously something I had a lot of respect for him. I mean, he's had, I mean, he may be, and Brandon may know, but I mean, he may be, I think he's got the highest win percentage coaching-wise in UNO history. And when I got the job, he was one of the guys that I called and talked to for a good bit. And he was very kind to me and very open to me about things that he thought were positives about my position and things that were going to be pitfalls or bumps in the road that I need to look out for. And so it's always neat, it's such a rich history of this program. When you look back at everything that's happened in this program and all of our success, anytime you get to go head-to-head against a person that's had a big piece of that, it's always a neat night for me. As a basketball junkie especially, it's cool for me.
Kevin missed the last 3 games, but he couldn't get a shot going, but he hit that 3 right in front of you guys. That just seemed to get you guys a little bit of a boost right there.
Huge, yeah. And I said on the radio, he struggled offensively getting a rhythm, but yet he's got such composure and such experience that I didn't hesitate on having him out there, even though he's still not 100% full strength back from his knee. He's a guy that won out there. He was a guy that I would pick every time to go at the line. There at the end, that wasn't any doubt in my mind that he was the right guy for it. And this was a big night for him. He made the one that we needed when it counted, and was good and solid defensively. So this was a big step out for him, and for our team to be able to win without him at Southern Illinois and to play, very very well at Indiana, and then come back and get a win against Central Baptist. That was big for those guys' confidence, those young kids, to be able to know that they don't have to have him to hold their hand through it as the experienced guy, the older guy, the veteran. and it was a big night for him. I was very glad to have him back for sure.
And you guys were turning the ball over a little bit to start the game, and then once you guys settled in, it seemed like you started to score a little bit easier. What do you think you guys did there?
Well, we were too passive with the ball, and 23 turnovers for us is way outside of our statistical range. You know, we were so prideful that we were, you know, in the top 15 or 16 all year in turnovers a game. We had a low turnover rate. In the last two, we've had too many. We had 19 and 23 tonight. But they did a lot of things. I mean, they trapped on first pass, they run and jumped, they did multiple different presses, and I think we had a lot of transition turnovers that were uncharacteristic, but we just turned it over in the run that we just don't do normally. And I think the guys got a little overexcited a little bit at being able to get out in space and go, and just little things that I think we'll clean up. And you clean those things up, and we would have played a much better game, and the score would have been a little different too.
Yeah, they went on that crazy run to open the
Right.
second half, especially the guy number 1. He scored like 11 points or something like that.
Right.
But you guys responded with a run of your own. What do you think it said that you guys were able to respond to that adversity?
Well, I know several of our faithful in the friendly confines of Lakefront Arena weren't happy with me for not using the timeout on that run, but I knew we would need them at the end because I knew that the game was going to end up like it was. But then also, those guys got to learn how to play through a little bit of adversity. And I don't want to be the guy that burns timeouts, micromanages them. There's a time and place for it, but I never felt like they were rattled. I just felt like they were making the wrong reads. And I thought that experience-wise, they just needed to get the reps and figure out how to play through it. And they did, and that was why after we got a basket, I used it then to just make a teaching point on them and tell them. And I was really proud of how they handled that.
Is that part of growing up?
I think so. You can't rush experience, you know. And the guy that was my college coach and was with me in high school told me that. He goes, "You got a young team. You can't rush experience this year. Let them play through some mistakes. Let it go." And you know, I was glad that I had enough faith that they could play through it and did it. I was really, really, really glad it turned out the way it did.
And for what you're talking about right now, it looks like Nate is getting more comfortable to where we can
Right.
see his ability come out.
Right.
It doesn't look like he's like he was last year.
Correct. Yeah, and he's getting a lot better in longer runs. And I think, you know, it's hard to say how much him being out by summer and all fall really set him back in his progression. But you're able to see what we knew we were going to have. We were just hoping we'd have this half a year sooner. But I'm awful glad we're seeing what we're seeing, because I think in the end, by the time he's a senior, he'll be one of the more dynamic guards in our league. They're pretty special.
You see that coming? I was in